All right, so hello. I'm going to tell you all just a little bit more about myself. I know I've told you all a lot, probably more than I should share, but I want you all to know a little bit more. So, my entire life, I've always been a bigger child. And you know, this never really affected me because my mother was bigger. And so I just thought this was normal. You know, being bigger is normal. It's just a part of life. But as I soon found out, my middle school colleagues thought a little different. They thought by calling me names like Fat or Big Mac that they would tear me down. I guess in a way they kind of did. But I'm going to let you all in on a little secret. Mama didn't raise no fool. Okay? I was taught to not let the words that people call me skew my perception of myself. But I knew that some people couldn't take the names that the middle school mind could come up with. Thus began my research into what these names did to people. And as I found out, it's not just the big kids who are experiencing this. It's kids of every size, it's adults. You know, we bigger people like to think that we're the only ones who experience this. But we don't realize when we tell someone who's smaller than us that they need to put some meat on their bones, that we're actually doing the same exact thing. So in all my research, I came upon this topic of body shaming. So what is body shaming? Body shaming, as defined by bodyshaming.org, a lovely site, is inappropriate negative statements and attitude towards another person's weight or size. Now, I believe this was a good definition because it didn't just focus on the subcategory of fat shaming, but I believe, in my own opinion, that the definition could be rewritten as inappropriate negative statements and attitudes toward not only yourself, but another person's weight or size. I say this because I believe that as human beings, we body shame ourselves. I'm a prime example of this. When I was in high school, I was in the drama department, and I can remember vividly the day that we would get the play or musical that we were getting ready to put on, and going through the cast list and marking off characters that I knew I wouldn't be able to play because of my size. Now this time, I think, why is this? Why would I sell myself short? And you know, when I think about it, I really believe it all boils down to society. You know, society tells us that we need to look and act one way to be normal, but to be normal is uncool. They set the standard for beauty so high that it's really hard for anyone to feel good about themselves and their bodies. I wanted to provide you all with a few examples. So this was taken from a Women's Health magazine article about what celebrities have been called. So as you can see, you have women like Demi Lovato or Miley Cyrus being called fat. You have women like Kate Upton being told that they have big thighs. And then you have people like Melissa McCarthy being told that she's tractor size. When I think about this, you know, I think about why would it matter? Why should I care that Kate Upton has big thighs? But then I think about, you know, who would care is that teenage girl who always gets compared to Kate Upton. Because now, whenever you compare her to that, all she's going to think about is you're pointing out her big thighs. When I think about it, you know, I could compare myself to about the same size as Melissa McCarthy, so now I'm going to think that I'm tractor size because that's what society is telling me. One of the biggest issues that I found with body shaming is that as a society, we don't know how we do it. So I wanted to highlight some ways that we do it. This was taken from Walden Center for Eating Disorders. So one way we criticize our own appearances through a judgment or comparison to another person. You know, I'm so ugly compared to you. Another way we do it is criticizing another's appearance in front of them. Like, with those thighs, you're never going to get a date. Or we criticize another's appearance without their knowledge. Like, did you see what she was wearing today? Not flattering. At least you don't look like her. You know, one of the biggest issues is society, really. And it all boils down to that. And so another issue that I found associated with society is the emphasis that we like to place on words. A woman by the name of Lillian Bustle, she is a plus-size burlesque model, if you can believe that. I believe she put it best when she said, society has turned fat into a synonym for ugly. But that's not what fat means. Fat just means fat. We put so much emphasis on words like fat or big that we like to associate with words like unhealthy or ugly. But we all know that's not true. So I would like to say that there's been a lot of research that has been done on how body shaming affects us all, but I can't really say that because I'd be lying. There hasn't really been that much research done. The facts that you're getting ready to see were taken from Lillian Bustle's TED Talk. She found that the number one wish for girls ages 11 to 17 is to be thinner. Even as a man, I remember this wish because I made this wish growing up because of the way society told me I needed to look. She found that size discrimination in the workplace has increased by 66% in the past 3 decades, and that a recent study showed that fatter women make up to 6.2% less than their thin counterparts. Now I think about this, and as I said, you know, there hasn't been that much research done about it. And so I think about, you know, why is this? Why would this be? I can only say this from my own experience that it really is the emphasis that we put on these words like fat. Because if you had a woman walk in and you're thinking, oh my God, she's fat, are you really gonna wanna hire her? I don't think so. Not because of the way society has played out this whole body shaming epidemic. So, as of right now, I would hope that you would be thinking about how this is an issue, how fat shaming has become an epidemic in our society. You know, I can't really give you an answer as to how we can solve this now. I can only tell you to love yourself, love the body you've been given. Because as my mother told me growing up, if you can't love yourself, then how are you going to love others? And as of now, I would hope that you would agree with me in saying that body shaming has become an ever-growing epidemic in our society. Thank you.